Hi, everybody. I have slightly overbooked myself today, but I'm really excited to talk with Lauren, so I'm still here. But I'm actually on site and on set for a design project for TV. I'm doing a guest spot. Don't get too excited, for my friend George and George to the rescue. I'm very excited, but I'm here on set. So today, everything looks a little different. You will hear some hammering in the background. It's a little bit crazy, but this is where we are and this is what we're doing. So I'm gonna invite Lauren in a few minutes. If you don't know of her, she's the owner and creator of, oh my gosh, I know it, LVR Designs. Okay, she's so talented. And she's done TV work. She's done high-end work. She started, after a degree from FIT, she started at some high-end firms and she got all the amazing training. So I'm so glad you guys are here to talk to her. Also, she's out in LA, so I want to check in and see how things are going with her there. She moved from the East Coast to West Coast. We'll talk about that a little bit, what provoked that move. We'll talk about TV a lot because today, I'm on set. So I'm upstairs in someone else's house. We're setting up downstairs. We have a reveal on Friday and it's a busy, busy time. So thank you for joining me. We'll talk about that a little bit. And I'm going to welcome her now, Lauren Lim. I can't wait for you guys to meet her. And actually, this is the first time we'll be talking, so that'll be fun too. Hi, Lauren.
Hi, how are you?
I'm so good. So only you can relate. I'm sure you can relate. I am on set right now
Okay, fun.
because we have a reveal Friday. You can hear I really didn't think they'd be drilling right now because I thought we were done with that. But anyway, so I know you can relate, and I'm sure the audience might be interested to hear some of your stories as well. But
Yeah.
I'm here.
Sounds good.
So this is what's going on. You look gorgeous. Look at that wallpaper.
Thank you, thank
Is this
you.
your office or your house? Where
This
are you?
was my former office turned nursery. So it's
Oh,
actually my daughter's room, and
how old
she
are your
has the
kids?
most. I have one girl. She's 2.5 now.
Oh,
I
beautiful. So you're a new mom.
am a new mom. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's beautiful in there. You look
Thank
stunning.
you.
Now, you're in LA. How is everything out there for you?
LA is rainy right now, so it's we're entering into our rainy period. It usually happens every winter. It's been a month since the wildfires,
Right.
so been it's been a very cathartic, healing sort of time. I feel like a lot of people have had time to process, me, my
Yeah.
team included, and I think we're trying to move forward.
Yeah.
At this point, everybody is.
Good.
So yeah,
You've
it's
started taking
a
stock of all that. You're safe where you are, and
yes,
I mean, as far as you can be.
yes.
And I'm sure you had clients affected and things like that. So,
Yeah, we unfortunately had a few clients of ours and vendors too.
oh,
A lot
yes.
of people that we know personally. I feel like everybody at this point knew someone personally who lost something.
So
So
much
it was,
so much or everything. Yeah.
yeah. So it's very sad.
Well, you'll be a
But
part of the beautiful rebuilding. I know that. So
yeah, we're hoping
that's
we're
fantastic.
open. Yeah, it's going to be quite something I
Right.
think this year.
Right. When did you move out there?
10 years ago.
10?
So yeah, actually no more than that. At this point, it's like 11
I
almost.
know, I
So.
lose track of time too. It's so
Mhm.
funny. So, but you were trained out here and you grew up in New Jersey, is that right?
I I was born in LA,
Oh,
but then we moved back
okay.
to New Jersey. So I came full circle in a way.
So
But
I think your
for
heart is there, maybe, huh?
I joke with my mom because she did literally the same thing I did. She immigrated to New Jersey first, because that's where her parents were. But then after a few years there, she was like, I need to leave. So she
Yeah.
went to LA thinking it'd be temporary, but then she met my dad, and then the rest is history. But then she ended up moving all
Back.
of us back east. So I grew up in New Jersey for pretty much my entire life at that point, and then I went to
Yeah.
school in New York City,
Yeah.
and I stayed there
At
for a
FIT,
long time.
right?
FIT,
That's
yeah.
so, so you always knew you wanted to do design. That
I
was
always
in
knew.
your blood.
It was in my
Yeah.
blood, literally. Like my mom's side, actually, it was always on her. They're very, very artistic, and I was very much exposed to that. And so it's all I wanted. It's all I knew. And design felt very niche, as I was kind of figuring out exactly what I wanted to do. But I think when the path came and it was time to choose,
Hmm.
for me at least, I was like, I want to do interior design, and then so I chose FIT because it was like it was in the center
Yeah.
of everything, and it was like all, it was great, it was amazing.
And it's a prestigious program. So when you graduated from there, I'm sure you were like top of your class. And you're getting some great opportunities in the city.
In the
Were you doing
city.
work there? That's incredible.
Mhm.
So like I'm the opposite of you. So I'm like I grassroots and started my way up from like home staging as an older person. So it was like I'm going backwards a little bit, but the training has been slow but so fascinating. I think what a lot of us lack who start that way is all of the like digital rendering skills. I don't know if you were trained in that back in
Yeah,
the day. I'm sure you were in AutoCAD and all that.
yeah,
So a lot of
everything,
that has
yeah.
to be outsourced for me
Yeah, it's funny, we sort of do that now,
now.
but
Right.
yeah, but it's like foundationally I have all of those skills because I did learn it in school. I learned a lot of it more actually when I started working.
Yeah.
Um, and so it like those are just things that are just so much a part of what I do now.
Yeah.
And when I have a team, like I have a team, and
Right.
so basic requirements for me too is that they have to know at least what I know, if not more,
Right. So
at this
they
point.
can
Yeah.
build things like custom pieces, and
Yeah.
I feel like that's amazing. Like that's a skill
Mhm.
I do not have, so I'm very impressed with that. And I know how important that is, especially when you're doing basically architectural design, so you're really,
Pretty much.
focusing on custom in there, right?
Yeah, yeah, all the time, all the time. Everything that we do is very
Yeah,
customized at this point.
that's incredible. So how did you build this team? Was this sort of organic? Has it ebbed and flowed a lot? Because I've talked to a lot of people who started sort of maybe got too big with their team and they sort of brought it back
Yeah.
down. How's your experience been building a
It,
team?
it was a combination of sort of a lot of things. Like it was very organic in the beginning.
Yeah.
It still kind of feel like it is, but we ebbed and flowed, and I from the get-go when I started this business, when it was even just me, I always knew I still needed help. There
Right.
are so many individuals out there who can do things better than you, and I
Oh
saw that
yeah.
so early on, especially working in other firms too.
Yeah.
Um, I always had a team, whether it was, and it was structured in a certain way. And I always loved that. I felt like that I
Yeah.
felt always supported in that way. And so yeah, when I started my company, I was like, I need something a little similar. So
Yeah.
I've always had some sort of intern or an assistant or just something
Yeah.
like that. And as I grew over the years, especially after the pandemic, it just the need was even more there than
Yeah.
before. And so my intern at the time turned into a designer, and then
Oh,
she needed extra support, so it's like, okay, let's find another intern. So it was always sort of like that kind of setup where
yeah.
um I grew from within, and that's kind of what
As
I
you needed.
emphasized on. Yeah,
Right.
as I needed, like with the team members I was able to meet and foster and nurture. I just kind of like grew from within, and that's kind of been just the MO now. So my team at this point, I have a senior designer, Tammy,
Yeah.
uh junior designer, Kelly, and we have an operations manager. His name is
That's
Jason,
fantastic.
and
Great.
they've been with me forever at this point. Like
Oh, that
my
is such
people.
a
Yeah.
well, that speaks highly of you. I mean, honestly, because it shows that you're a great I hate using the word boss, but you're a great owner, a great CEO.
Well,
You're great at caring about your team.
yeah, I know we try. Like I definitely I've lived through corporate design life,
Mhm.
and I've lived through, so many different environments in my career, and I really try to make sure we foster just an environment where it's, one, flexible, because life
Yeah,
is
yes.
crazy. Yeah, and
Yes.
it's
And
like,
you're pulling the best from all your experiences, right? I mean, you're figuring out
totally.
like what you like the best out of all the places you work.
Oh yeah, yeah. 1,000%. Like I remember when I started this, even for myself, like even just me, I was like, I'm not starting my day at 9. Like I
Yeah.
don't want to do that anymore, Like I want to
Yeah.
get a workout in. I want to have breakfast. Now that I
Yes.
have a baby, I want to spend time with her in the
Yeah.
morning. So like all of us collectively, I'm like, our day starts at 10
How does
because
that
in
work?
LA too,
It's great.
traffic is like awful.
Right.
Everyone is driving at the same time. And it's like, why would I put anyone through that? So I'm like, come when traffic is done for you and get it to the office because it's a
It's
better use of your
fascinating because
time.
I love that. I think honestly, what you're doing is so smart for so many reasons because also what you're doing is being efficient with the time. So you
Yeah.
can work harder and
Oh,
more
yeah.
fulfilling work when you work
Right.
in these condensed hours, and then that's really targeted work. And of course, I'm sure you guys bring some stuff home and when you need to,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
Yeah. But I'm like very proud to say like my team and I we work really hard, but I haven't pulled any overtime, honestly, in like the last like 5 years.
That's
And like, no, there are
fantastic.
nights where it's like, yeah, we have to haul ass, and everyone is
Yes.
doing what they need to do. But and I think because it's such a rare thing that happens,
Yeah.
everyone is so
Willing to
game
do it.
to
Right.
pull the
And they
work.
know it's
Yeah,
not
so
going to happen
it's
again for a while.
for a long time. If that, like, I stress so much on work-life balance, and it's like such a very important thing and value to me. So I try to make
Yeah.
sure that we keep nurturing that and
Yeah.
fostering that with everybody too.
Is that something that you grew up with? I know your culture is really important to you, and I love to hear about this
Yeah.
because, especially today, we're having a lot of really vindictive feelings towards various cultures, which is so insane to
Yeah.
me. Like, our world is so
Yeah.
beautiful and big.
Yeah.
And I'd love to hear how that sort of, I know you've talked about it before, but how that sort of affects, your choices and how you're feeling today. And I don't know, just talk about your culture and how it's sort of affected you.
Yeah, so I'm a first generation Filipino American. My mom and my dad are both from the Philippines. I
Wow.
They came here in the 80s, during the heyday of it all. I think one
Yeah.
of the best eras. But it is interesting. I think growing up, it's a similar, you know, child of an immigrant type of story where they're surviving. They were
Right.
on survival mode for since they
Right.
came here. I
Right.
think they had to prove themselves to
10 times
they
harder than everyone
oh
else.
yeah, and it's like, and I feel they did what they could. They did their best. And growing up, especially as a first generation child, like,
Yeah.
dealing with that, it's kind of, as an adult now and as a mom now too, it's interesting to see things through their lens.
Yeah.
And they were very hardworking, and I can't fault them for a lot of what they just didn't know what to do. So it's almost
Right.
like I'm taking all of those learnings, if anything, and trying to see how it needs to be reapplied, if at
Right.
all, at this point, and
Being
how
more
it can kind of
intentional, and you're able to be more
be
intentional with your choices,
more
and you don't
intentional.
have to survive like that the same way that they did.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And then at the same time, my story is also a little different because my parents were very encouraging of like what I wanted to do. So, a lot of times you'll hear like, yeah, they wanted me just to choose a stable job. And that's of course very true. They still wanted me to
Yeah.
have a stable
But you've
job, but they were
proven that
just
it's
like,
stable.
yeah, but I think because my mom and my dad saw that there were professions that still allowed people to kind of turn their hobbies into something
Right.
profitable. It was out there, but you had to work really hard. So
That's it.
for me, failure was just never an option. They instilled that very early on, and so like
Yeah.
I from an early age, I knew, like I mentioned earlier, exactly what I wanted to do, and I
Yeah.
worked really hard to do that. And as soon as I graduated college, even I landed my first job like right after the summer
Incredible.
was over. So it was kind of like I was just like, A to B to C to
Yeah.
D. Like it was very linear. And I feel like that was just so ingrained because of my upbringing. Like I just needed to make sure I was good on my 2 feet. I didn't have to rely
Right.
on them anymore for financial support. I was just coming into my own now. And they really instilled that into me, just to be hardworking,
Yeah.
just to have insurance, like get
Yeah.
all the basics down, and you will be fine.
Yeah.
So I
So
left
you feel like
I
you already
left
got
home.
that
Yeah.
leg up, getting all that.
Yeah.
You were in a different
Yeah.
position than they were, I'm sure, coming here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And like I completely did all of it on my own. I left the house at 18, and I basically never
Incredible.
came back. So
Incredible.
I've been on my own since then, and that's just a testament to how they raised me, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, it was very we were upper middle. It was,
So still,
we
yeah,
had a
healthy.
very nice, comfy
Yeah.
childhood, especially in New Jersey, which is very, very much suburbia, but very much like
Yeah.
everyone knows each other
What
kind of
town
thing. At least our town
were
did.
you in?
I was in Rivervale. That's where we last
Okay.
ended up. That's where
I'm
my
embarrassed
parents are
because
still
I've
now.
lived in New Jersey for like 9 years, and I still don't know
Oh,
where anything is
is
except
it?
like places around me. It's so funny. People will tell me a town. I'm like, uh-huh. And then for the longest time, they were always telling me the exit off the highway, like off the
Oh,
Garden State
Parkway.
Parkway. That's how they talk
Yeah,
about exits over here in New Jersey. That's like how you know where you're
yeah,
from. You're like, oh, it's off exit,
yeah.
whatever.
Oh, yeah,
So
totally. Wait,
I
what?
was
So what?
baffled.
Where do you live?
Right now, I'm in Bloomfield, which is right by Montclair.
Right. Oh,
So it's very
okay,
close to
okay, yeah.
the city.
Yes, 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 yeah. Yeah, we're my parents live in Bergen County,
Oh,
so
yeah.
we're close to
So
the
just
city
north of me.
too.
I do some work up there. Oh,
Hmm.
great. Did you
Yeah,
speak
no,
another language at home when you were growing up? No?
no. So my
Oh, you spoke English.
parents, English was all the way. They
Well,
spoke to me
in
in Tagalog.
Philippines, it's English is a part of the language, right? So it's
Yeah, it's
often,
everyone.
yeah, that's what I
It's
read.
everyone's second language there. So, my parents were quite fluent. Well, my mom more than my
Yeah.
dad were quite
Yeah.
fluent in it. From the get. And I think when they moved here, I was actually one of the only ones that they spoke English to amongst my
Oh,
siblings and I. Like, there's three of us.
wow.
So I had a dual experience where, and I could understand it 1,000%, but
Yeah.
where my siblings are concerned, they can't understand it at all.
Oh,
So it's like,
really? Because
yeah,
they just
and
didn't
it
really
was,
speak it around them.
yeah, I didn't. Well, it was also like which you can't do now, but their teachers
I
at the
know.
time were like only one language at home. And I
Wow.
feel like if you said that to a parent now, they would be completely canceled, thrown on the internet. Like that's like something you just
Yeah,
can't say to a modern day parent at this point,
it's
especially like
just
if
so
you're trying
hard.
to immerse culture back into,
Right.
and it's a dying thing too. So I'm fortunate that at least like I could understand it. Like I
Yeah.
could make do with myself
And this is
if when
Tagalog?
I traveled.
Is that how you
It's
say it?
Tagalog. Yeah, it's Tagalog.
Tagalog. Yeah. I have a dear friend who's Filipino and she's an immigrant. So she just came over probably like 10 years ago. And she's funny. She teaches me some words. I forget them, but they're so cool. She's so cool. She tries to, and they're funny phrases. She tries to teach me cool phrases that like
Mhm.
mean totally different things.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a
yeah.
beautiful language.
I know there's a big community in New
Yeah.
Jersey. Interesting enough, in LA too. So I feel like we're everywhere.
Yeah, that's well, I mean, obvious. This is what's so great. So this is what I wish for people, and I don't know how you feel about this. I wish for people who are landlocked or don't have the experience of the diverse populations that we have. And I'm
Um,
not saying it's all sunshine and rainbows here. It's certainly not. But like on both coasts, we live
oh
in a
yeah,
way that's inclusive of everybody because we
yeah,
know that that's what makes the world work, and that's what makes art, and that's what makes things interesting.
yeah,
And we know that everyone contributes, and the only people who don't are criminals, and that's because they're criminals, not because they're immigrants. So
yeah,
we
yeah,
um, we know that here, and I wish for America. I wish they knew it. I wish they had the experience of
yeah.
living among people
Oh my
that we do.
gosh, yeah. You're sweet. Like, that's how I felt like when I was in high school. When I went to high school, and we moved towns when I started high school, and so
Oh,
we moved to a super super
white.
white predominant
It's
like
okay. You can say it white.
it was predominantly white, and it was very jarring because when in my elementary school years, literally prior to that, it was like very
Yeah.
diverse. If anything, more Filipino, but like a good mix of kids, and
Yeah.
like and then to go from that to an all-white high
Yeah.
school was like very strange. I was like one out of five Asian kids. Two of
Yeah.
us probably only spoke like we were like born there. The
Only
others
till you
were
spoke English. Yeah.
so the
Really
assumption
well.
generally from that point on was that none of us did, even though I was in an honors English class and
Yeah.
like I was just like taking so
I
it
mean,
was
yeah,
kind of the blatant racism was very interesting and sad to experience
of
as a
course.
14-year-old. And then
The hardest
the,
time in your life already.
totally high school was very rough, and I feel like when I left, when I was like applying for design school, I was like, I need to be in New York because I
Yeah.
knew myself too. I'm like, I needed to be around more different types of people.
Right. People
Having a
who get
daughter,
it, people
yeah.
who understand
Mhm.
that the mix is interesting and that's
Yeah,
what we do. I
and
mean,
no one makes like a blanket assumption about you too,
right.
which was
Yeah.
like so my that was my everyday, and I really
Yeah.
hated it. And it was like now that I have a daughter, I'm like very, very focused on like the school of it all now. Like she's not in school yet, obviously, but it's gonna come up soon. And it's all
Yep.
my husband and I are always like, I just want her to make sure she's in a very diverse environment because that's really, really what matters to
Right.
me. Like I
But
can't
we're
have
so
her just
lucky
be
here.
singled out.
And
Yeah,
I'm lucky
yeah. And like
where I am. It's actually one of the most diverse towns, maybe in all of New Jersey, Bloomfield specifically.
that's great.
Um, it's pretty great. I mean, of course, there's still
Right.
problems. We have still a long way to go because it's an old school town, so there's a lot of things that have been done the same way forever. But again, this is just where like I love to hear your input about it and the way it affects creativity and like the way that creativity is how we teach people
Hmm.
how great it is to be different and to be
Yeah.
diverse and to push your boundaries,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think just even in starting a company and like, have trying to nurture that along the way, like one of the big things I emphasized on was I always my I guess my hidden agenda in some sort of way is that I always wanted an all women team.
Yes. Your
Or
hidden
there
agenda, I love it.
yeah, like
What's
that
what you're
so
comfortable with and what you knew was powerful. Yeah.
exactly. fine. And we have our wonderful Jason, of course, but like
Yes.
that was just a recent hire, even just like a few.
Yeah.
So like I've been in business now for almost 9 years, and like it took that long.
Yeah.
Up until that point, my team members have been these amazing, amazing women of all different
Right.
backgrounds, and I got to learn so much from the women I did get to work with and who got to
Yeah.
team up with me. So like that was such a huge emphasis too, because I've been in design firms too where there was no diversity, and that was kind of
Right.
nuts to me. Like
Right.
my bosses were all like white men,
Yes.
and I didn't like
Well,
that.
this is what's so fascinating. Can you tell us a little bit about the Kelly Wearstler experience? Because that's cool. She's the boss, is a powerful
Mhm.
female. Did you
Yeah,
feel?
she.
I mean, I know there's probably NDAs and stuff. I don't know how much you're allowed to tell us, but
No, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, from what I can say, she working there, I was with her for about 3.5 years
wow.
actually. When I first moved to
Wow.
LA, she was my first job out of here, and it was amazing. Like
And it's a brand. I
I
mean, it's not just design, it's like a whole brand. Yeah.
whole brand, and she at that time in 2014, like it was. I feel like she was really coming, like the
Yeah.
brand itself was like coming into its own.
Hmm.
They started the proper hotels, which was so fun.
Yeah.
And it was the first time for me having a woman boss.
Yeah.
So that was really, really cool because I've never had that before. And it
Yeah.
was just so fun learning just with her, around her,
Yeah.
like with the
Right.
people she
As it
surrounded
was being
herself with.
built. Right.
Yeah, yeah. So, and I've taken so much of that and applied it to how, at least in terms of design and like how I do design, and like how I would love to have a creative hub like how she did. So it was a very, very cool design environment, very cool working environment. I think that I've made really good friends from there, and it was just a really good group of people. So funny because at the time, a lot of us were from New York.
Yeah.
Like that, the team that she had like hired,
Yeah,
me
she has a
included.
lot of impact in New York too.
She
She has a
does.
lot of
Yeah, it was just a funny testament to how like I feel like New Yorkers just work really hard.
yeah. Like New Yorkers, what New Yorkers are
In
like in LA. It's like a
LA,
different
yeah, it's just like we're going. Like I was pulling very, very long days
yeah,
there, and I
long
feel
hours
like that
then.
was just
Yeah.
innate at that point for me, and a
Right.
lot of us too. So,
Pre-COVID,
um,
I think it was a little different too. I mean,
it was so different. Oh
yeah.
yeah, for sure.
That
And
changed us. I mean, even for me, from my perspective, just my husband went to work every day in the city, and COVID like changed our whole life just for the better in a way. Even
mhm,
though it was so horrible, I understand. I'm not trying to diminish it, but for our family unit, just seeing how much time we got together that we didn't get before,
yeah.
something we're trying to cling on to a little more, but it's
Oh yeah.
challenging. But I have so many questions about the TV. I don't know how you do it because I did TV for 4 years, so I did both design production and hosting, and you did as well. So you were on the show with the Property Brothers. It's a different beast for many reasons. I don't know what your experience was. Every show's different.
Mhm.
Mine had really low decorating budgets, so we had like normal, upper middle class like construction budgets, but then we had like really low staging and
Yes,
decorating
yeah,
budgets. What you were doing was what you would call design production or art direction. What would you call it, and how did you do it with everything else you're doing?
yeah, yeah. That whole gig came to me during COVID,
Oh
which was like
wow!
such an unexpected time. We were like, I just got an email from this wonderful woman named Nicole one day, and she was like, "Hey, we saw your work online," and
Yeah,
I was like, "What the heck?" Would love to see if you're interested in like participating in the shows, and I was like, "Why not? Sure,
try it.
like try it." And so after all of that, I did their Forever Home show,
Yeah.
which was really fun. So I got to meet a lot of really cool families and basically help turn their homes into forever
Yeah.
homes. And to what you're saying, it was like it was
Lower
such a
budget than what you're used to.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like, and it's still healthy, like
Yep.
for the everyday family. This is what's
Yes.
normal, and it's like
Yeah.
it is different from what I am used to working on the other side of things for high end residential for things like that. But it was fun. It was so fast paced, as you know. Like
So fast
it's
paced.
like
That's the thing. Yeah.
literally like we're in planning mode, and then we're getting it executed like the next week.
Yep. So it's
So
different because, yeah, different that way.
it is so different, and like juggling that and what I was doing, I feel like
I
maybe
don't
the
know how you
timing
did
of it
that.
all was, yeah, I mean the timing was funny because of COVID. Like I it was in a way like I had to slow down,
Right.
so the timing came appropriately, but then
Which
when
is kind of
COVID
good.
was
Yeah.
starting to be over and I had a lot of projects that came from COVID and then we were still doing this, it was kind of
Yeah.
like, oh my God. So
Then it got hard.
then it got
Yeah.
hard. Thankfully, then I had a team established that they were able to handle,
Yes.
LVR studio projects, and
Yes.
then I was able to just sort of
Yeah.
put my head down for the TV stuff, and then so like
Right.
I was able to balance it in that way because there are days right when we're out just all day,
Oh yeah.
we're
And
on
not
our feet all
for
day,
nothing,
like
but you also didn't have a child yet. So you weren't
didn't
worried, right?
not yet,
That
not
makes a
yet.
big difference too.
That
Yeah.
that was yeah.
For me, it
So
was challenging.
it was so easy
Yeah, go ahead.
to do it without a kid.
Now that you think
Like,
about it, right? You're like, how would I do it now?
oh, there's no
You
way.
have a
Like,
team. You have a team.
yeah. I mean, it's like yes and no, but it's like I can't do like the long, like there were nights where we
You
were
don't want to
there
be
sometimes till
away.
like 10. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was just like I
Yeah.
can't be away. One of the last shows I actually did with them, I was 9 months pregnant at the end. So, so that was like a huge glimpse as to like what that was
You
going to
did
look
it.
like. I did it.
I
Yeah. And it was,
I don't know how
I
you did
felt,
that because honestly, I felt so sick pregnant. I don't know how you want to tell us how were your pregnancies? Because I was so sick.
yeah,
I
no,
could
I
not have
feel
done it, I don't think.
the first month of me when I was pregnant was not great.
So
And I didn't
sick.
want to
Yeah.
tell anybody yet. So
Yeah,
like
I know.
everyone really and it's tough because when you're in an environment like
Yes.
that and a lot of people are relying on you because we were actually doing two shows at the time. I was doing
Yeah.
another show that was just trying to kick off. We did a pilot season and everything and I was going through the
Yes.
first trimester woes and I just
Oh
remember the
my gosh.
contractor getting annoyed actually because he'd be like we gotta like what's wrong with you basically and I didn't want to say and that's it's just funny because it plays into the whole like I can't such a dude right now like
Yeah.
why can't I just like be
I know.
and I don't have to
Also,
explain myself to
I'm just
you.
gonna say I bet that you weren't really off your game that much, and it wasn't that noticeable. Like just because you're not like peppy every second, you know what I mean? Doesn't mean you're not doing your job and getting it done. I bet you were.
Oh, and that's what's so funny sometimes about our industry because like it's still very much dominated by a lot of these people
Yeah.
and it's like yeah, the moment you start showing that you're not on your A game, they like call you out right away. And it's
Yeah,
like
I think that's also on us to just not
yeah,
allow it, right? To be
yeah,
like,
and
no,
I
we're
have
strong. And I'm
mhm.
sure when you're first learning, it's hard to do that. I've had moments too, and now I'm getting to a place where I'm like, I'm not gonna let people do that to me.
Oh yeah, no. And now at this point, I nip things in the bud. As soon as I see something
Mm,
that I just is making me not feel good, it's like okay, let me just calm down first. At least like not respond in a place
yes.
out of anger, but like figure out the right words to
Yeah.
say like this is not okay.
So just put the
You know?
kibosh on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I've learned now to grow a spine and do that. At the time, it was just like,
It's
oh gosh, I'm growing some person in me right now. Like, give
and
me a
then
break,
you're
but I
thinking of
can't tell
that.
you
Yep.
exactly.
But
Yeah,
you
so
did
it
it and you're doing
did.
amazing and you got through. I can't believe you did that. That's incredible. That's that's amazing to me. I had my
Yeah,
kids already, but for me they were kids and I was hard. I couldn't keep my business going the way you did. I didn't have enough. I mean, I did a couple projects, but I was like had to fully lean into the show because I just couldn't. I would never see my kids. I felt like if I didn't
yeah,
choose at that moment. So it's impressive to me. And what great timing. And now you have all of that under your belt and you can choose sort of how you move forward.
yeah.
What do you see for yourself like moving forward?
What do I see for myself? I'm hoping that we just keep having full pipelines. I just hope that if we keep staying busy. I love what we do. I love that
Yeah.
we get to work on such cool homes and meet such great
Yeah.
people and like that's just like the basis of what
Yeah.
keeps me going. I think it's at least residential design and whether it's TV or like what we're doing on the studio side, it's like such an intimate experience. It's like I always say that the clients are my inspiration and so I
Yeah.
I draw a lot from that and it's like just to kind of hear where they've came from and
Sorry.
all the walks of life. It's just fun. Like there's nothing boring about my
Yes,
job.
I
And I
agree.
don't take that for
Wonderful.
granted.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's always fresh because you find your inspiration from the people and you're not just trying to do like your aesthetic everywhere. Even though
No.
obviously they come to you for your aesthetic. You're able to interpret that. I mean, for them. This is
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
So I have to ask you my little question. So what is warming your heart these days? Because it's a challenging time.
What is warming my heart these days?
Because I find it challenging. My family, I'd say.
Yeah, my daughter, my husband. I feel like
Oh,
it's been she's she's 2.5, right? So like she's coming into her own
Oh, they're
now. So it's kind of
so funny.
so funny, so triggering, so all of the above. And I was like, oh my God, lady, what were you like? How
Oh
are
my
you
gosh,
like?
yeah, that's
What?
you're right. I say funny, and they are so funny. Like what they say is funny, but when they get that independence, you're like, what the heck? Yeah.
And I'm always like, I want whatever independence. Where did you even get this? I would love all of that and like even take an ounce of it for myself. Like she's
I want to
amazing, but
demand the things you demand and have people give them to me.
oh my gosh. And it's so, like she has such an amazing confidence that like
Mm-hmm.
my husband and I are just like confused every day how she got,
I know.
it's
But you're like
amazing and like
hoping she keeps it,
hoping
right?
she keeps it. Like I look at her. We literally I say so I said this to someone last weekend. I was just like, I just hope I will never. I'm like trying to be so aware, like
Yeah.
that's my
Yeah.
parenting my husband and I are very intentional. So it's almost like I just don't want us to even dim her light. Like we
I
have
know.
just to keep working on it,
I'll say this: give yourself grace, because I have. It's all about the repair.
Oh yeah,
Honestly,
I
because
know.
no matter what, maybe you'll be perfect. I'm not saying you won't. For me, it was a lot about the intention matters the most. Obviously, the love, everything you're
Yeah,
saying right now matters the most.
yeah.
So that's home to you as well as them. Like this fostering this home there, and then also at work. Would you say that that's home to you right now?
So yeah, work is also yeah, we have
Yep.
a really nice office in Little Tokyo in downtown LA, and like that is
Oh
my
my
second
gosh.
home. Yeah, so I if I'm not at home, I'm there or at the gym. So it's almost
I
like
love.
in between those
I
three
need
these three
to
places.
get. I need to care about the gym. I need to add that to my rest.
Oh yeah,
But anyway.
no, I feel like the working out for me has been like such a. I've always done it actually. Ever since I moved to
Yeah.
LA, I became the stereotype where like I started working out because I just never did that in the East Coast for some reason.
But it's
But then
also
here,
the weather's good, so you
the
can do so
weather's
much.
great. Like it really would, and that's how I made a lot of my friends. Was like just
Yep.
putting myself
Classes.
in these like situations, classes, running, and but for some reason, especially postpartum, it was hard to get back into it,
Yeah.
and then like finding the routine. Like I actually, to be honest, like it's been 2 years, and I just started feeling like myself now. So it
Yeah.
took me this long, and I think it's because I really started prioritizing my
Yep.
health and like going to the gym almost every day. And
And you're
so
young. I'm not even gonna ask how old you are, but I know you're young. So
I'm
that's
not
good. You've
feeling
got
it
plenty of
lately.
time, is all I'm gonna say. And would you say that this is giving you some semblance of harmony in your life, like right now,
Right now.
considering?
Oh yeah. I feel, work, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, but I feel like the last year was just so strange, like for the landscape of like just people not, it wasn't
Oh
as
yeah.
busy as I thought it was like we've been in the previous year.
Right.
So
Right.
I've been trying to lessen the anxiety, rebalance
Yes.
myself, and I feel like I've found harmony in,
Good.
in my home and then in working out and like just
Good.
picking up reading again. Like that was a huge
I
thing
just
for
picked
me.
up
I'm like,
reading again.
yeah, it's
That's funny.
really, it's insane. My
Like I
husband bought
read.
me, I know my husband bought me a Kindle for Christmas, and so I've been glued to
Okay,
it.
do you
And it's
use the
like,
Libby app? Do
I
you
do
use the
use
Libby app?
the Libby app. Yes,
Good.
I
That's
use.
all. I'm so excited by that because I'm sick. I'm not trying to buy all those books. I
No,
just want to borrow them.
oh my gosh, it's
Oh my
such a game
gosh.
changer.
Well, we'll have to
So
share some book stuff another time. Maybe I'll do a random book club episode or something. Um, I have a question.
yeah,
Do you have a show and tell for us? I know I throw that at you, like kindergarten style. Anything cute that you want to share with us? As it could be a
anything.
fabric you like. Where are you in your daughter's room? It's okay if you
I
don't.
know, show and tell. I feel like my wallpaper is
It
doing
is
it for me.
great. Can you zoom out a little? Can you zoom out
I
so we
know I
can see
could
it?
try. Like we
Oh,
have
so this used to be the office, and then it transitioned to your daughter's room, and it's like
all
perfect.
four
It's
walls are
high
covered
end for
in
your daughter's
wallpaper.
room.
Yeah, I she gets like the most exciting room.
Can you tell us
I don't
about
even.
it? What is it?
It's a Milton and King tropical scene wallpaper. I'm very partial to blue. I love blue, so I was like, I wanted this to be a cooler room. I did not do this thinking she was coming. This was definitely before baby. So
Yes,
whether that was intentional or subconscious or not, I don't know.
but it works.
But I just remembered like thinking, working in this room and doing meetings and interviews like this, it'd be so cool just to have an
It's so
amazing
cool.
background. And I love
On the other hand, I'm
wallpaper.
at this random house with just back. Like, what is this? No offense, but anyway.
Yeah, and it
Um,
was like every project of ours has wallpaper in it. So I was like, my house has to have one room at
Yeah, of
least that has
course.
wallpaper. So that was also the goal
Showcase.
too.
It looks
Yes.
beautiful, and of course, it was the first thing I noticed. So it's beautiful. I have to thank you so much. I have to get back to trying to stage this house.
Thank you.
It was so nice to talk to
Likewise.
you. So everybody, I might be a little late and like posting this and doing all that stuff because I have to like literally run downstairs and try to handle some of the drama. But it was so nice to talk to you.
Good
Thank
luck. Yeah, likewise. Thank you
you.
so much for having me.
Thanks for joining me. We'll have to connect another time.
Yes.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.